So let's just jump right in. What if I told you that your feelings, that chronic stress or anger or sadness, aren't just floating around in your head? What if they're actually sending direct instructions to your body? Instructions that can literally make you sick. It sounds a little out there, I know, kind of like something you'd hear in an ancient text. But what we're going to explore today is how modern science is showing us that this is a hard biological fact.
And that, right there, is the most important thing to get straight from the start. We're not talking about some abstract wellness concept here. We're stepping right into the world of biology, of chemistry, hormones, and what's happening inside your cells. The connection between your mind and your body, it's not just a nice idea. It's a real, measurable, physical process.
Okay, so for part one, let's start by completely reframing how we think about emotions. They're not just these fleeting moods that come and go. Think of them more like a blueprint, a powerful set of instructions that are physically shaping your body from the inside out. Seriously, every single time you feel something, your brain shoots out this cocktail of chemicals, things like cortisol and adrenaline. And these aren't just vague signals, they are direct orders. In order for your heart to start pounding, in order for your stomach to tie itself in knots, in order for your immune cells to, well, stand down for a minute. It's a direct biological text message from your brain to your body.
Now look, we're not talking about having a bad day here and there. That's just being human. What we're really focusing on are the chronic, persistent emotions, the ones that become the background music of your life. And these three in particular, fear, anger, and sadness, when they stick around for the long haul, they're the ones sending the most damaging instructions to our bodies day in and day out.
All right, let's get into the real science of it. How does a feeling actually turn into a physical illness? This is where we get into the nuts and bolts of your body's chemistry.
The key word on this slide is reshape. This isn't just a temporary dip. When your body is constantly swimming in the chemicals of stress and negativity, it actually starts to adapt. It changes its own baseline. What used to be normal for your body slowly becomes a constant state of emergency.
And that change sets off this chain reaction, this cascade effect. Your immune system, which is supposed to be your bodyguard, gets suppressed, leaving you wide open to getting sick. Your digestion slows way down, because in a fight or flight mode, digesting lunch is not the top priority. Your muscles stay clenched, leading to things like chronic back pain and headaches. And maybe the scariest one, inflammation starts to rise all over your body. We're talking about a low-grade fire that's linked to almost every major chronic disease out there.
This chart just lays it all out, plain and simple. Look at the contrast. On the left, you've got a body that's in balance. Hormones are doing their thing, your immune system is a rock star, digestion is working great. But look at the column on the right. Under chronic stress from those negative emotions, every single system gets pushed into a danger zone. Cortisol is always high, your immune defenses are down, and your blood pressure is just constantly elevated. It's basically a body that is at war with itself.
So, I know this all sounds pretty serious, but what does the actual data say? Let's connect the dots between this biological theory and what happens in the real world, especially when we're talking about emotional trauma.
So, how serious is it really? Is this just a minor thing that bumps up your risk a little bit? Or are we talking about something that can fundamentally change the course of your health? Well, the science on this is pretty shocking, actually.
60%. Let that number sink in. Major studies have found that experiencing significant emotional trauma can increase your risk of developing a chronic illness by over 60%. That is not a small number. It's a huge leap in risk that is directly tied to your emotional past. And this chart just tells the whole story visually, doesn't it? You see the normal baseline risk on the left, but then look at that massive jump for people who've been through serious trauma. It's a powerful reminder that what happens to us emotionally doesn't just stay in our heads, it gets physically written into our biology.
Okay, after all that pretty heavy data, I want to switch gears because this next part is by far the most important part of this whole explainer. This is not a life sentence. We're going to talk about how you can reverse it. So here's the crucial takeaway. Your body is incredibly resilient. The same way it learned to adapt to a state of stress, it can absolutely learn to adapt back to a state of health. Those chemical instructions you're sending to your body, they can be changed, and you're the one who can change them. So the path back isn't complicated conceptually. It really starts with 3 big steps. First is doing exactly what you're doing right now, just understanding that this connection is real. You got to know the how and why. Second, you start to identify your own emotional triggers. What are the patterns that keep sending those stress signals? And third, You actively start the reversal process, using practices designed to calm your nervous system and change that emotional baseline for good. So I'll leave you with this final thought. If your emotions are constantly writing a story on a biological level day after day, just take a quiet moment and ask yourself, what story are my emotions telling my body? And more importantly, is that the story you actually want to be living in?